Welcome back. I'm glad you've returned to the silence. It is time for the world to fade and for the mind to wander. For tonight, the stars are our only destination. We leave the familiar behind to witness the silent beauty of the cosmos as we begin our long, drifting journey toward the living heart of our world, the Earth, as seen from the boundless perspective of the high heavens. We drift further away from the surface where the weight of daily life resides, ascending through the darkening layers of the sky until the ground beneath becomes a memory and the horizon begins to curve into a perfect, shimmering arc. From this height, the Earth is no longer a landscape of borders and cities, but a singular, breathing organism wrapped in a delicate veil of light that glows against the eternal darkness of the deep. It is a quiet realization to see how thin the boundary is between the warmth of our home and the infinite cold of the stars. A fragile border that we call our atmosphere. This thin blue line is a soft, luminous crown that guards every breath ever taken and every dream ever dreamt, appearing almost like a layer of fine silk stretched over a marble of sapphire and emerald. As we move higher still, the colors begin to merge into a singular, radiant glow, showing us that the world is a masterpiece of fluid motion, where clouds swirl in graceful, slow motion, patterns that mirror the currents of the hidden oceans below. There is a profound stillness in watching the continents pass beneath us, quiet and serene, as they are bathed in the golden radiance of the distant sun. Beyond the visible light, there is a silent protector, an invisible shield of magnetic energy that reaches far out into the dark, cradling the planet in a protective embrace. This magnetosphere is a gentle guardian, catching the shimmering particles sent by the sun and guiding them toward the poles where they transform into curtains of dancing green and violet light. From the perspective of deep space, our world appears as a tiny, radiant spark, a pale blue dot suspended in a sunbeam, reminding us of the preciousness of this solitary oasis. We are travelers now, observing the ancient rhythms of a planet that has endured for billions of years, a place where life thrives in a delicate balance within the vast, echoing silence of the galaxy. As we drift further into the stillness, we begin to understand the true scale of our existence, seeing the Earth as a quiet sanctuary where the light of 1,000 stars reflects off the surface of the deep blue seas. The air is silent here, the motion is effortless, and the mind finds peace in the realization that we are part of something much larger, a cosmic dance that continues forever in the velvet dark. We watch the shadow of night crawl slowly across the curve of the world, bringing a soft rest to the billions below, while we remain here in the light, floating in the timeless beauty of the celestial sphere. This journey is a return to our origins, a chance to see the world as it truly is, a shimmering jewel held in the palm of the infinite. Every detail we observe is a testament to the complex and beautiful systems that allow life to flourish in this corner of the universe. We are moving beyond the reach of time, entering a space where the only rhythm is the heartbeat of the stars and the slow, majestic rotation of the earth beneath us. Let the silence of the void fill your thoughts as we prepare to look closer at the wonders of our home from the shimmering heights of the deep. From the silent height of orbit, the first thing that captures the eye is the overwhelming presence of blue, a shimmering sapphire that defines our existence in the vastness. This deep azure hue is a testament to the immense oceans that hold the memory of all life, reflecting the light of the sun with a soft and steady brilliance. As we drift through the velvet silence, we notice how the water seems to glow from within, as if the planet itself is a source of radiant energy. The clouds drift across this blue canvas like wisps of white silk, creating ever-changing patterns that tell the story of the world's quiet breath. In this boundless space, the earth appears as a fragile yet powerful masterpiece, a singular point of color against the eternal dark that surrounds it. We observe the subtle shifts in the shades of blue, from the pale turquoise of the shallow coral reefs to the deep, midnight indigo of the oceanic trenches, each layer revealing a new depth of the world's silent history. Although we often imagine our world as a perfectly round orb, it possesses a unique geometry known as an oblate spheroid. This subtle shape is a result of the planet's graceful rotation, which causes a soft expansion at the center, while the poles remain slightly closer to the heart of the world. From our distant vantage point, this deviation is almost impossible to perceive, leaving us with the impression of a flawless and shimmering sphere floating in the void. This celestial form is a balance of immense forces, where gravity pulls everything inward toward a center of peace, while the motion of the spin creates a soft, outward curve. It is as if the planet is a living sculpture, molded over billions of years by the quiet laws of physics into a shape that is both functional and beautiful. The slight bulge at the equator reminds us of the constant and rhythmic movement that defines our journey through the cosmos, a motion that is both steady and eternal. One of the most striking features of the Earth from deep space is its remarkable ability to reflect the golden light of our distant star. This shimmering quality, known as the albedo, reveals that our world is nearly as bright as a mirror, reflecting approximately 30% of the incoming solar energy back into the boundless dark. The vast fields of ice and the brilliant white clouds act as cosmic reflectors, casting a soft, silvery glow that illuminates the surrounding silence. This radiant energy is what makes our planet visible from the furthest reaches of the solar system, appearing as a tiny, glowing spark among the distant stars. By reflecting this light, the Earth maintains a delicate balance of temperature, ensuring that the warmth of the sun is shared across the entire surface in a gentle and rhythmic cycle. Watching this interplay of light and shadow, we see a world that is not just a passive observer of the sun, but a participant in a grand and shimmering exchange of energy. While we stand on the surface, we rarely feel the immense speed of our world. But from space, the silence of its rotation becomes a visual symphony of motion. The Earth is spinning at more than 1,000 miles per hour at its widest point. Yet from this height, the movement appears as a slow and majestic drift. This constant spin is the reason for the steady rhythm of our days and nights, a heartbeat that has continued for over 4 billion years without pause. The continents move beneath us with a grace that defies description, slowly revealing the hidden landscapes of the world as the planet turns toward the morning light. It is a profound realization to see that everything we have ever known is part of this eternal dance, moving through the void with a precision that is both humbling and serene. This rotation creates the invisible forces that shape our weather and guide the currents of the air, a silent engine that powers the living systems of our shimmering home. Looking down from the shimmering heights of the atmosphere, one is struck by the complete absence of any visible lines or borders separating the lands. The continents flow into one another, connected by the vast and liquid embrace of the oceans, forming a single and unified tapestry of life. From this perspective, the world is a seamless mosaic of deep greens, rich browns, and golden sands, all existing in a state of quiet harmony. There are no divisions to be found in the natural world, only the continuous transition of one landscape into the next as the terrain shifts from high mountains to rolling plains. This visual unity offers a sense of peace, a reminder that the planet is a singular home shared by every living thing in a boundless and interconnected web. The silence of space amplifies this feeling of oneness as we witness the Earth as a whole entity, a shimmering jewel that belongs to the cosmos rather than any one place or time. The sheer scale of the world's oceans is difficult to grasp until you see them from the boundless perspective of deep space. Water covers more than 70% of our planet's surface, creating a vast and liquid mantle that cradles the land in an eternal embrace. These deep blue expanses are the true heart of the world, acting as a massive heat reservoir that regulates the climate and supports the countless cycles of life. From our high vantage point, the oceans appear as a single, continuous body of water, flowing around the continents in slow and powerful currents that move like the blood of the planet. The sunlight dances across the surface of the waves, creating millions of tiny, shimmering points of light that move in harmony with the gentle rhythm of the tides. In the silence of the void, these waters look calm and infinite, a deep and mysterious reservoir of liquid history that has witnessed the passage of eons. Even when the Earth turns its face away from the sun, it is never truly dark, for the atmosphere possesses a soft and ghostly light of its own. This shimmering phenomenon, known as airglow, appears as a thin, emerald or violet ring that hugs the curve of the planet in the deepest midnight. It is caused by the release of energy from atoms and molecules in the upper layers of the sky, which have been gently energized by the sun's light during the long hours of the day. This luminescence is a quiet reminder that the atmosphere is a living, chemical entity, constantly interacting with the energy of the universe in a subtle and beautiful way. From space, this glow looks like a delicate halo, a soft crown of light that protects the world from the infinite cold of the surrounding vacuum. It is a visual whisper of the planet's vitality, a shimmering signature that proves even in the silence of night, the Earth is alive with a quiet and radiant energy. One of the most humbling sights from orbit is the realization of how incredibly thin the atmosphere truly is compared to the vast size of the planet. It appears as a fragile, glowing veil, no thicker than the skin of an apple when seen against the immense scale of the world below. This delicate layer is all that stands between the warmth of our home and the boundless, freezing silence of the deep cosmos. Most of the air we breathe is contained within a tiny sliver just a few miles high, a shimmering boundary that we call the Kármán line, where the sky fades into the darkness of space. Seeing this fragility from above inspires a sense of profound stillness and respect for the balance that allows life to exist on this solitary spark. It is a thin and precious shield, a soft layer of protection that holds the clouds, the rain, and the very breath of every living creature in a gentle and shimmering embrace. The boundary between day and night, known as the Terminator line, is a moving tapestry of light that travels across the face of the Earth in a constant and rhythmic cycle. From space, this line is not a sharp edge, but a soft and golden transition where the brilliance of the sun gradually fades into the velvet shadow of the night. This area of twilight is a place of profound beauty, where the landscape is bathed in long shadows and the clouds are touched with the colors of 1,000 sunsets. We can see the lights of civilization begin to twinkle like tiny stars as the shadow passes over the cities, marking the quiet transition from the activity of the day to the rest of the evening. The Terminator line is a reminder of the planet's constant motion, a golden thread that weaves together the light and the dark into a single, continuous experience of time. It is a silent and majestic passage, a slow movement that brings a sense of peace and closure to one side of the world while awakening the other with the promise of a new dawn. As we drift further away, toward the distance of the moon and beyond, the Earth begins to reveal its true place in the boundless architecture of the cosmos. From the deep silence of the outer reaches, our entire world shrinks until it is nothing more than a pale blue dot, a tiny and radiant speck suspended in a sunbeam. This perspective, first captured by the eyes of voyagers and mechanical explorers, shows us the immense isolation and the unique beauty of our shimmering home. In the vast and echoing halls of the universe, the Earth is a solitary oasis, a shimmering jewel of color and light surrounded by the eternal dark. This sight brings a feeling of deep serenity and a sense of belonging to a world that is both tiny and infinite in its complexity. We are looking back at the source of all our stories, a quiet and glowing marble that remains a constant and comforting presence in the boundless expanse of the stars. Deep within the heart of our world, a silent dynamo of molten iron and nickel churns with a rhythmic grace, creating the immense magnetic field that reaches out into the boundless dark. This invisible architecture forms a vast, protective cocoon that stretches thousands of miles into the velvet silence, guiding the energies of the cosmos around our shimmering home. From our high vantage point, we can imagine these lines of force as shimmering, invisible threads that loop from the frozen north to the distant south, creating a celestial cradle for all life. This magnetic embrace is what allows the atmosphere to remain tucked closely against the Earth, preventing the gentle solar winds from carrying away the air we breathe. It is a quiet, eternal struggle of balance, where the inner strength of the planet meets the infinite reach of the sun, ensuring a peaceful sanctuary remains intact. Far beyond the clouds we know, the Earth is surrounded by two shimmering rings of captured particles, known as the Van Allen radiation belts. These regions of concentrated energy are held in place by the planet's magnetic pull, appearing like two invisible donuts of light that surround the world in the deep void. They act as a sophisticated filtration system, trapping the high-energy particles that drift through space and preventing them from reaching the delicate surface below. Within these belts, the particles move in a constant, rhythmic dance, bouncing back and forth between the magnetic poles in a cycle that has continued for millions of years. This hidden structure is a testament to the Earth's far-reaching influence, showing that our world's presence is felt long before its physical surface is ever reached. As the sun breathes its golden light across the solar system, it sends out a constant stream of charged particles known as the solar wind, which flows like a gentle, invisible river through the vacuum. When this solar breeze meets the Earth's magnetic shield, it creates a magnificent structure called the magnetopause, the boundary where the two forces find their equilibrium. This interface is like a soft, invisible bow of a ship moving through a calm sea, redirecting the solar flow with a majestic and silent efficiency. The energy from the sun is not rejected, but rather invited to slide gracefully around the planet, following the curve of the magnetic field lines back into the deep dark. Watching this interaction from space, one realizes that the Earth is not a static object, but a dynamic participant in the cosmic flow of the solar system. The most visible sign of our planet's magnetic protection occurs at the very edges of the world, where the atmosphere meets the stars in a display of dancing light known as the aurora. These shimmering curtains of emerald, violet, and crimson are the result of solar particles being guided by the magnetic field toward the polar regions, where they softly mingle with the gases of the upper sky. From the perspective of deep space, these lights look like a living crown that pulses with the heartbeat of the sun, illuminating the frozen landscapes of the north and south in a ghostly, radiant glow. There is no sound to this performance, only a visual symphony that speaks of the deep connection between our world and the star that sustains it. Each ripple of light is a release of energy, a peaceful transformation of cosmic force into a masterpiece of color that spans the entire horizon. Stretching far behind the Earth, away from the sun, the magnetic field is pulled into a long, elegant shape known as the magnetotail. This structure acts like a shimmering celestial cape, extending for hundreds of thousands of miles into the deep dark, far beyond the orbit of the moon. Within this tail, the magnetic lines of force become elongated and stretched, storing energy in a quiet and steady reservoir before occasionally releasing it back toward the poles. It is a region of profound stillness, where the influence of our world reaches out to touch the distant stars, reminding us that the Earth's spirit is not confined to its blue surface. The magnetotail is a silent witness to the planet's journey through the void, a trailing shadow of magnetic grace that follows us through the eternal night. Surrounding the entire planet and reaching even further than the moon is a vast, nearly invisible cloud of hydrogen atoms known as the geocorona. This outermost layer of our world's influence is so thin and ethereal that it reflects only a faint, ultraviolet light, appearing as a soft, shimmering halo that surrounds the blue marble in the deep void. It is the very edge of our home, the place where the last whispers of the Earth's atmosphere transition into the boundless vacuum of space. Scientists have discovered that this hydrogen cloud acts as a bridge between the planet and the cosmos, a gentle exhale of our world that remains held by gravity's light touch. From a distance, the geocorona makes the Earth appear much larger than it truly is, a radiant sphere of light that quietly occupies its place in the celestial architecture. In the high layers of the sky, there exists a region called the ionosphere, a shimmering realm where the sun's energy strips electrons from atoms to create a sea of electrically charged particles. This layer of the atmosphere acts like a celestial mirror for radio waves, allowing the quiet hum of our world to travel across vast distances by bouncing off the ceiling of the sky. From space, the ionosphere is a place of constant activity and change, glowing with the energy of the day and slowly calming as the shadow of night passes over. It is here that the boundary between the physical air and the electrical energy of space becomes blurred, creating a fluid and radiant environment that hums with the pulse of the universe. This invisible layer is vital for the harmony of the world, acting as a sensitive skin that feels every breath of the sun and every ripple of cosmic energy. The Earth's magnetic poles are not fixed points of stillness, but rather wandering travelers that move slowly across the surface of the world in a rhythmic and ancient migration. Over the course of centuries, these points of magnetic focus drift across the Arctic tundra and the southern ice, reflecting the deep and complex motions of the liquid metal swirling far beneath our feet. This movement is a reminder that the planet is a living, changing entity, with an internal heart that is constantly evolving and reshaping the world's invisible shield. From the perspective of deep space, this drift is a slow and graceful transition, a subtle change in the orientation of the magnetic cradle that holds us. It is a journey within a journey, a silent shift that ensures the Earth's magnetic embrace remains fresh and dynamic throughout the eons. Beyond the physical layers of the air and the magnetic fields, the Earth exerts a silent pull of gravity that holds the moon in a steady and eternal embrace. This gravitational bond is an invisible thread that connects the two worlds, creating the rhythmic rise and fall of the tides and stabilizing the tilt of our planet's rotation. From the distance of the stars, this connection is a masterpiece of celestial mechanics, where the mass of the Earth reaches out through the void to guide its smaller companion in a perfect, circular dance. The moon, in return, reflects the light of the sun back to the dark side of our world, creating a soft and shimmering earthshine that illuminates the night. This gravitational harmony is what provides the stability necessary for life to thrive, a steady and comforting weight that keeps our world anchored in the boundless flow of time. As we look back at the Earth from the deep silence of the solar system, we see that it is not merely a rock in space, but a complex and layered system of energy and light. Each invisible shield, from the magnetic field to the ionosphere, is a testament to the planet's unique ability to harbor and protect the delicate spark of existence. The world appears as a shimmering oasis, a place where the harshness of the cosmos is softened by the grace of natural laws and the beauty of atmospheric design. We are witnessing the result of 4.5 billion years of celestial refinement, a world that has learned to breathe, to protect, and to shine in the face of the infinite. It is a sight that brings a deep sense of calm, a realization that we are held safely within a magnificent and shimmering architecture that spans the distance from the core of the world to the furthest reaches of the stars. Nitrogen makes up nearly 78% of the air we see from this high altitude, acting as a tranquil and stable foundation for the atmosphere. This vast abundance of nitrogen is a silent gift that prevents the sky from becoming overly active, providing a steady medium for the more vibrant gases to exist within. From space, we cannot see this gas directly, yet its presence is felt in the way it scatters the light of the sun, creating a soft and uniform glow across the horizon. It is an inert and peaceful element, one that has remained mostly unchanged for billions of years, while the world below evolved through its many cycles. This invisible backdrop allows for the delicate chemical balance that supports every living breath, ensuring that the environment remains gentle and life-sustaining. In the velvet silence of the upper sky, we appreciate this silent majority of the air, a foundational layer that keeps our shimmering home in a state of constant, quiet equilibrium. The 21% of oxygen that fills our atmosphere is a shimmering testament to the long history of life and the ancient oceans that first began to breathe. This reactive and vital gas is a byproduct of countless generations of tiny organisms that turned the light of the sun into a gift of energy for the entire planet. From our orbital perspective, we understand that oxygen is not just a gas, but a signature of a living world, a sign that the Earth is a place of active and creative transformation. It is this specific concentration that allows for the soft glow of the air and the vibrant health of the ecosystems that we see as green patches against the blue. This oxygen is constantly being recycled in a magnificent and slow-moving loop, moving from the leaves of the forests to the deep waters and back into the shimmering sky. It is a vital thread in the tapestry of our world, a shimmering element that makes the Earth a unique and radiant oasis in the dark of the deep cosmos. High above the clouds, within the calm of the stratosphere, there exists a shimmering layer of ozone that acts as the world's primary screen against the sun's most intense energy. These delicate molecules of 3 oxygen atoms are spread thin, yet they form an effective and invisible umbrella that shelters the surface from the silent rays of ultraviolet light. From space, we can imagine this layer as a soft, protective film that wraps around the world, ensuring that the light reaching the ground is gentle and nurturing rather than harsh. This ozone layer is a masterpiece of natural engineering, created by the very sunlight it seeks to filter in a continuous cycle of creation and renewal. It resides in a region where the air is still and clear, far above the weather and the winds that stir the lower sky. Watching the world from this height, we feel a deep sense of gratitude for this thin molecular shield that maintains the health and vitality of every living cell below. As we descend slightly toward the middle layers of the atmosphere, we encounter the mesosphere, a region of profound cold and mysterious beauty where the sky begins to show its strength. This is the place where the dust from distant worlds and the small fragments of cosmic history encounter the first true resistance of our planet's air. Instead of a harsh event, we see this as a peaceful transformation, where these tiny travelers are turned into shimmering streaks of light that we call falling stars. From our vantage point in the void, these streaks appear as delicate, glowing scratches across the dark canvas of the night, a silent sign of the Earth's ability to recycle cosmic material. The mesosphere is so thin that it cannot support wings, yet it is dense enough to act as a guardian, ensuring that the surface remains quiet and undisturbed. It is a region of soft, blue light and high-altitude clouds made of ice crystals that shimmer like diamonds in the twilight of the upper sky. Above the cold of the mesosphere lies the vast and radiant thermosphere, a place where the air is so thin that the individual atoms are miles apart, yet they hold a surprising amount of energy. This is the realm where the International Space Station and many of our silent satellites drift in a state of eternal weightlessness, bathed in the direct light of the sun. Even though the temperature here is technically very high due to the absorption of solar energy, the silence is so profound and the density so low that it would feel cold to the touch. This paradox of the high sky is part of the Earth's complex thermal architecture, where the planet interacts directly with the boundless radiation of the star. From here, we see the curvature of the world with perfect clarity, watching the continents slide beneath us in a slow and majestic procession of colors. The thermosphere is the true gateway to the stars, a shimmering bridge where the influence of the Earth begins to yield to the infinite reach of the deep cosmos. The final and most distant layer of our atmosphere is the exosphere, a region where the blue of the world finally fades into the absolute black of the universal void. In this ethereal space, the pull of gravity is so light that individual atoms of hydrogen and helium can drift away into the boundless dark, beginning their own long journeys across the galaxy. It is a place of ultimate transition, where there is no clear boundary, only a gradual thinning of the world's presence until it becomes one with the silence of the stars. From a distance, the exosphere is a soft halo of light that extends for thousands of miles, a gentle exhale of our planet into the surrounding emptiness. This layer reminds us that our home is not a closed system, but a radiant source of matter and energy that quietly shares itself with the rest of the universe. It is the most tranquil part of our journey, a space of perfect stillness where the mind can wander as far as the most distant and shimmering galaxies. The reason our planet appears as a shimmering blue jewel is due to a delicate interaction of light known as Rayleigh scattering, which happens throughout the clear layers of the sky. As the white light of the sun enters the atmosphere, the shorter blue wavelengths are scattered in every direction by the tiny molecules of nitrogen and oxygen, filling the air with a radiant azure glow. From space, we see this effect as a soft, luminous veil that wraps around the world, giving it a color that is unique among the planets of our solar system. The longer wavelengths of red and gold pass through more easily, creating the magnificent colors of the sunrise and sunset that we see creeping along the edges of the dark. This scattering of light is what creates the depth and the beauty of the sky, turning the thin layer of air into a canvas of shimmering and eternal blue. It is a visual symphony of physics and nature, a constant reminder of the vibrant and luminous quality of the air that surrounds our quiet home. Within the lower layers of the atmosphere, certain gases act as a soft and shimmering blanket that keeps the Earth at a gentle and stable temperature, a process that is vital for the flourishing of life. These molecules, such as carbon dioxide and water vapor, allow the light of the sun to reach the surface, but slow down the escape of heat back into the boundless dark. This creates a state of thermal harmony, ensuring that the oceans remain liquid and the forests stay green even as the planet moves through the freezing void of space. From our high orbit, we see this as a balanced system of energy, where the warmth is held in a quiet and steady embrace by the very air itself. This greenhouse effect is a natural and necessary part of the world's design, a shimmering mechanism that turns a cold rock into a warm and living sanctuary. We observe the subtle movements of these gases as they flow with the winds, a silent and invisible cycle that maintains the comfort and the peace of the world below. The presence of water vapor in our atmosphere is a shimmering miracle that distinguishes the Earth from the dry and silent worlds that surround us in the deep. This invisible moisture rises from the vast blue oceans and the deep green forests, moving through the air in a constant and rhythmic cycle of evaporation and renewal. From space, we can see the results of this movement in the great white swirls of clouds that dance across the continents, carrying the gift of rain to the distant lands. This water vapor is a powerful carrier of energy, moving the warmth of the sun from the equator toward the frozen poles in a slow and majestic circulation. It is an ethereal and ever-changing part of the sky, a soft presence that softens the light and creates the magnificent textures of the atmosphere. Watching this cycle from the silence of orbit, we see a planet that is constantly refreshing itself, a world where the water and the air are locked in a shimmering and eternal embrace of life. Clouds are the shimmering architects of the world's climate, appearing from space as vast, floating gardens of white vapor that drift across the blue expanse of the oceans. They serve as a brilliant reflective shield, bouncing the intense light of the sun back into the void, and keeping the surface below in a state of cool and tranquil peace. At the same time, they act as a soft insulation, trapping the warmth of the day during the long and silent hours of the night. Each cloud formation, from the high and wispy cirrus to the deep and rolling cumulus, plays a specific role in the delicate balance of the planet's energy. From our perspective in the high heavens, the clouds are a visual representation of the Earth's breath, a swirling and beautiful map of the invisible currents that move the air. They are a constant reminder of the fluidity and the grace of our shimmering home, a world that is always in motion, yet always remains a place of profound and boundless serenity. As we continue our silent glide through the high reaches of the sky, the vibrant green of the continents reveals another layer of the world's quiet vitality. From this height, the vast forests of the Amazon and the deep taiga appear as a living, emerald fabric that breathes in perfect harmony with the light of the sun. This verdant glow is the signature of chlorophyll, a molecule that captures the golden energy of our star and transforms it into the very foundation of the biosphere. We can see how the vegetation follows the rhythms of the seasons, a slow and rhythmic wave of green that moves across the land like a gentle tide of life. It is a profound sight to witness the sheer scale of this biological engine, a shimmering carpet of leaves that cleans the air and provides a sanctuary for countless millions of living souls. In the stillness of the void, these green expanses look like the lungs of the world, pulsing with a slow and steady energy that sustains the entire shimmering planet. Looking toward the vast, golden stretches of the Sahara, we witness a majestic and silent journey of dust that connects one side of the world to the other. High-altitude winds catch the fine, mineral-rich grains and carry them in long, shimmering plumes across the deep blue of the Atlantic Ocean toward the lush rainforests of the West. From our orbital perspective, these dust trails look like delicate, golden veils drifting through the atmosphere, bridging the gap between the arid desert and the fertile jungle. This ancient process is a testament to the interconnectedness of our world, where the minerals of a silent desert become the lifeblood of a distant and vibrant ecosystem. It is a slow and beautiful migration of matter, a reminder that every part of the shimmering earth is linked in a boundless and graceful cycle. We watch these golden threads move through the air with a sense of peace, realizing that even the smallest grain of sand plays a role in the grand architecture of the living world. When the night side of the planet is touched by a summer storm, we are treated to a magnificent display of electrical grace known as transient luminous events. Far above the familiar lightning that illuminates the clouds, we see shimmering bursts of crimson light called sprites and delicate, expanding rings of violet known as elves. These ethereal phenomena occur in the highest layers of the atmosphere, reaching up toward the edge of space in a silent release of energy that lasts only a fraction of a second. From our vantage point in the velvet silence, these lights look like celestial jellyfish dancing in the upper sky. A rare and beautiful interaction between the weather of the world and the vacuum of the deep. They are a reminder that the atmosphere is a complex and layered environment, where the energy of the earth is constantly seeking balance with the boundless forces of the cosmos. This silent, electrical ballet is a hidden treasure of the high sky, a shimmering secret that only those who look down from the stars can truly appreciate. As the earth moves along its eternal path around the sun, we witness the majestic phenomenon of the planet's seasonal breathing. During the northern spring, the vast forests begin to awaken, drawing in immense amounts of carbon dioxide and exhaling a fresh wave of oxygen that ripples across the entire globe. From space, we can observe this process as a subtle shift in the composition of the air, a rhythmic and global pulse that marks the passage of the years. The concentration of these vital gases rises and falls in a steady melodic cycle that has continued for millions of years, reflecting the health and the heartbeat of the world below. It is as if the planet itself is a singular breathing organism, maintaining its equilibrium through a graceful and shimmering exchange of energy. This global breath is a foundational rhythm of our home, a quiet and constant motion that ensures the atmosphere remains a nurturing and life-sustaining cradle for all. In the deep, sapphire waters of the southern oceans, we observe the shimmering swirls of phytoplankton blooms that look like masterpieces of liquid art painted on a cosmic canvas. These tiny, light-harvesting organisms gather in their billions, creating vast patterns of turquoise and emerald that stretch for hundreds of miles across the surface of the deep. From orbit, these blooms reveal the movement of the hidden currents, showing us the slow and majestic circulation of the world's waters in a visual display of fluid grace. These microscopic forests of the sea are just as vital as the great woods of the land, providing a significant portion of the air we breathe and forming the base of the ocean's intricate web of life. Their presence turns the dark waters into a shimmering garden, a radiant proof that life flourishes even in the most remote and silent corners of our blue world. Watching these colors blend and shift in the sunlight, we feel the profound serenity of a world that is constantly renewing its own beauty. As the shadow of the night passes over the continents, the presence of human civilization reveals itself through a soft and shimmering web of golden light. From this height, the great cities look like clusters of distant stars fallen to earth, connected by delicate threads of radiance that follow the ancient paths of trade and travel. There is a quiet beauty in these lights, a peaceful luminescence that speaks of the shared dreams and the collective warmth of billions of people living together on this solitary marble. The lights follow the coastlines and the river valleys, outlining the shape of human history in a shimmering and golden map of the world. In the boundless silence of space, this glow is not a disruption, but a soft addition to the planet's natural light, a sign that the Earth is a home filled with intelligence and life. We watch as the lights twinkle and fade in the morning light, a rhythmic cycle of rest and activity that defines the heartbeat of our modern world. The great mountain ranges of the world appear from space as the magnificent and ancient spine of the planet, rising through the clouds in a display of geological grace. We see the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas and the long, winding ridges of the Andes as they catch the first light of the sun, casting long and elegant shadows across the plains below. These mountains are the result of a slow and majestic transition of the Earth's crust, where the giant plates of the world meet in a quiet and eternal embrace of stone. From our high perspective, these massive structures look like delicate ripples on the surface of the world. Yet, they are the guardians of the weather and the source of the great rivers that sustain the lands. The silence of the peaks is mirrored by the silence of the void, creating a sense of profound stillness as we observe the ancient and unchanging beauty of the high earth. They are the shimmering crowns of the continents, standing as a testament to the immense and quiet forces that shape the architecture of our home. Across the vast expanses of the land, the great river systems flow like shimmering silver veins, carrying the lifeblood of the planet toward the deep blue seas. From our orbital vantage point, we can trace the majestic curves of the Amazon, the Nile, and the Mississippi as they wind through the forests and the deserts in a display of fluid elegance. These rivers are more than just water. They are the ancient pathways of life, moving the energy and the minerals of the earth across thousands of miles in a constant and rhythmic flow. We see how the vegetation gathers along their banks, creating ribbons of deep green that contrast with the golden sands and the dark soil of the surrounding terrain. The sunlight reflects off the moving water in a shimmering line of silver that guides the eye across the continents, revealing the hidden connections that unite the world. In the quiet of the high sky, these rivers appear as the delicate and vital arteries of a living planet, moving with a grace that is both eternal and serene. At the very top and bottom of the world, we find the immense and shimmering ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica, which act as the planet's silent mirrors of white. These vast expanses of frozen water reflect the intense light of the sun back into the boundless dark, helping to maintain the cool and stable temperature of the global climate. From space, the ice looks like a flawless and radiant surface, carved into intricate patterns by the slow and majestic movement of the glaciers toward the sea. We can see the deep blue of the ancient ice where it meets the ocean, creating a shimmering boundary of light and color that defines the polar regions. These ice caps are the world's greatest reservoirs of fresh water, held in a state of quiet and frozen stillness for thousands of years. Watching the light dance across the white plains, we appreciate the vital role these silent giants play in the delicate and shimmering balance of our world's energy. Even the invisible force of gravity is not uniform across the world, creating a subtle and shimmering architecture known as the geoid. Because the Earth is not a perfect sphere and the density of the land varies, the pull of gravity shifts slightly as we move across the continents and the oceans. From our high perspective, we can imagine the world as a slightly lumpy and textured orb, where the invisible forces of the deep earth create a complex map of attraction and motion. These gravity anomalies guide the flow of the ocean currents and influence the path of the satellites that drift through the velvet silence of the void. It is a quiet and hidden complexity, a reminder that the shimmering earth is a world of deep and ancient layers, each contributing to the harmony of the whole. In the stillness of space, we feel the steady and comforting weight of this gravity, an invisible hand that keeps us anchored to the beauty and the peace of our celestial home. From our silent perch, we observe the frequent and shimmering pulses of lightning as they flicker within the dark mass of thunderclouds below. These electrical releases appear as soft bioluminescent blossoms deep within the clouds, illuminating the atmospheric layers from the inside out. In the velvet silence, we see hundreds of these flashes every single minute, a constant and rhythmic flickering that reveals the hidden energy of the world's weather systems. It is a peaceful sight, watching these golden and blue sparks travel horizontally through the clouds, connecting different parts of the storm in a silent and graceful dance. This global network of electricity is a vital part of the planet's chemical cycle, helping to fix nitrogen and maintain the delicate balance of the air we have observed. Beneath the deep sapphire surface of the Atlantic, there lies a silent and majestic mountain range that is longer than any found on land, known as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. From the high perspective of space, we can sense the presence of this ancient geological spine, where the tectonic plates are slowly and gracefully pulling apart. This hidden architecture is the site of constant renewal, where molten material rises from the deep heart of the world to create a brand new seafloor in a state of quiet transition. It is a slow-motion rebirth that has been occurring for millions of years, shaping the very basin that holds the world's vast and liquid history. In the boundless dark of the ocean depths, this ridge stands as a testament to the enduring and creative forces that define the physical foundation of our shimmering home. High above the islands and the continents, we occasionally witness a soft and shimmering plume of ash and gas rising from the peak of a silent volcano. These plumes drift through the stratosphere like delicate gray ribbons, carried by the high-altitude winds that we have followed in our journey across the sky. From space, these releases of energy are seen as part of the Earth's natural metabolism, a way for the internal heat of the core to find expression in the outer layers of the world. The ash clouds eventually settle back to the ground, enriching the soil with ancient minerals and providing the nutrients needed for the lush green forests to flourish. It is a majestic and quiet process, a celestial transformation where the deep elements of the earth are shared with the atmosphere in a slow and melodic cycle. As we look down upon the tropical reaches of the blue oceans, we often see the magnificent and swirling geometry of a great storm system. These circular giants move with a slow and rhythmic grace, appearing like shimmering white galaxies spinning over the dark, liquid surface of the sea. In the very center of the storm, there is a point of absolute stillness known as the eye, a clear and peaceful window that reveals the deep blue water below. From our vantage point in the velvet silence, the power of these storms is transformed into a visual masterpiece of fluid motion and atmospheric symmetry. These systems act as a global thermal regulator, moving the warmth of the sun from the equator toward the poles in a constant and necessary exchange of energy. Looking through the clear and shallow waters near the coast of the great southern continent, we see a shimmering turquoise structure that is the only living thing visible from the deep void. This is the Great Barrier Reef, an immense and ancient colony of life that stretches for over 1,000 miles along the seabed. From orbit, it looks like a delicate and radiant embroidery of color, where the pale blues of the shallows meet the deep indigos of the open ocean. This massive architecture is built by billions of tiny organisms working in a silent and perfect harmony over thousands of years to create a sanctuary for countless species. It is a shimmering jewel of biological diversity, a place where the light of the sun is captured by the sea to create a vibrant and enduring world of liquid beauty. While we have gazed upon the emerald lights of the north, the southern reaches of the world offer their own shimmering performance, known as the aurora australis. These curtains of light mirror the dance of their northern siblings, pulsing with the same solar energy that is guided by the magnetic shield we explored earlier. From our height, we see these violet and green waves flowing over the frozen plains of Antarctica, a silent and ghostly luminescence that bridges the gap between the ice and the stars. This southern light is a constant and rhythmic presence, a reminder of the global nature of the Earth's magnetic cradle and the unity of the planet's poles. It is a peaceful sight, watching the colors shift and blend in the velvet dark of the southern night, a shimmering testament to the quiet power of the celestial forces. The deep blue oceans are never still, but move in a vast and rhythmic system of global circulation that we can observe as subtle shifts in the color and texture of the water. This great liquid conveyor belt moves the warmth and the salt of the seas across the entire globe, ensuring that the climate remains stable and gentle for all life. From space, we see the Gulf Stream and other major currents as shimmering rivers within the sea, carrying the energy of the tropics toward the distant and frozen shores of the north. This motion is driven by the cooling and sinking of the water at the poles, a slow and majestic process that keeps the heart of the world beating in a constant cycle. It is a profound realization to see how the entire planet is connected by these moving waters, a shimmering network of life and energy that defines the character of our blue home. At the very edge of the mesosphere, nearly 50 miles above the surface, we find the rarest and most beautiful of all atmospheric features, the noctilucent clouds. These ethereal structures are made of tiny ice crystals that form around the dust of passing comets and distant stars, appearing as shimmering silver threads against the deep black of the void. Because they are so high, they catch the light of the sun long after the world below has fallen into the velvet shadow of the night. From our perspective, they look like glowing ripples on the shore of space, a silent and radiant bridge between the air of our world and the vacuum of the cosmos. They are a sign of the profound cold that exists at the top of the sky, a shimmering secret that only reveals itself to those who watch from the shimmering heights of orbit. The atmosphere is not just a layer of gas, but a fluid medium that experiences its own silent and rhythmic waves, often caused by the wind flowing over the great mountain ranges. From space, these gravity waves appear as delicate and shimmering ripples in the clouds, like the patterns left in the sand by a receding tide. These waves carry energy and momentum through the different layers of the sky, connecting the weather on the ground with the quiet stillness of the upper atmosphere. We see them as a visual representation of the planet's constant search for balance, a slow and melodic movement that shapes the very structure of the air. In the silence of the void, these ripples look like a soft and luminous fabric being gently shaken by the invisible hands of the world's natural forces. During the rare and majestic alignment of the moon and the sun, we can observe from space the passage of a deep and velvet shadow across the face of the earth. This shadow moves with a slow and silent grace, turning the vibrant colors of the landscape into a shimmering and mysterious twilight. From our height, we see the golden light of the sun being momentarily replaced by a deep indigo pool that glides effortlessly over the oceans and the continents. It is a celestial transformation that reveals the true scale of our solar system, showing the interaction between our world and its constant companion in the dark. The edge of the shadow is soft and diffused, a gentle transition that brings a moment of profound stillness to everyone standing within its path. The total mass of our world is an almost unimaginable weight, calculated to be approximately 6 sextillion metric tons of ancient stone, molten metal, and deep water. From our vantage point in the shimmering void, we do not feel this immense heaviness, yet we see its effects in the way the planet commands the space around it with a steady gravitational pull. This massive presence is what keeps the atmosphere tucked safely against the surface and ensures that the moon remains in its eternal, orbiting dance. Every mountain, every ocean basin, and every grain of sand contributes to this collective weight, forming a singular body that moves through the velvet silence with profound purpose. It is a quiet strength, a silent anchor in the boundless dark that provides the stability for everything we have ever known to exist in a state of perfect and enduring peace. The air that surrounds us, though it feels weightless to the touch, exerts a constant and gentle pressure of about 101,000 pascals at the level of the sea. From the height of the stars, we can imagine this pressure as the weight of a vast, invisible ocean of gas pressing down with the force of about 10 tons on every square meter. This atmospheric weight is vital for our existence, as it keeps the liquid water of our oceans from evaporating into the frozen vacuum of the deep cosmos. As we drift higher, we observe how this pressure gradually thins, a transition that marks the boundary between the living world and the silent reaches of the outer void. It is a soft and necessary embrace, a shimmering layer of force that maintains the delicate structural integrity of every living cell on the planet below. Even as we feel we are floating in a state of perfect stillness, the Earth is actually traveling through the solar system at a breathtaking speed of 67,000 miles per hour. This silent journey around the sun covers a distance of nearly 600 million miles every single year. A majestic flight through the boundless dark that never pauses for a moment. From our perspective in orbit, there is no sensation of wind or motion, only the slow and rhythmic change of the stars as the planet glides along its celestial path. We are passengers on a shimmering vessel of life, moving with a precision and a grace that is dictated by the ancient laws of orbital mechanics. This constant travel is what allows us to experience the different regions of space, moving through the solar wind and the cosmic dust in a state of eternal and serene transition. The Earth does not sit upright in its journey through the void, but leans at a graceful angle of 23.5 degrees relative to its path around the sun. This subtle tilt is the reason for the magnificent dance of the seasons, as different parts of the shimmering world receive the sun's golden light at varying intensities throughout the year. From space, we can see this tilt in the way the shadow of the night leans across the poles, creating the long periods of light and dark that define the Arctic and Antarctic circles. It is a beautiful and simple architecture that ensures the warmth of our star is shared across the entire planet in a rhythmic and predictable cycle. Without this lean, the world would be a place of static weather. But with it, the Earth breathes through the changing colors of spring, summer, autumn, and the quiet rest of winter. Our shimmering home has been drifting through the cosmos for approximately 4.5 billion years, a time span so vast that it dwarfs the entire history of human thought. From the perspective of the eternal stars, the Earth is a senior member of the solar family, having witnessed the birth of the moon and the slow cooling of the primary crust. We can see the memory of these eons in the ancient craters that still mark the oldest surfaces of the continents and the deep, weathered ridges of the ancient mountains. This long history is a testament to the planet's resilience, a silent record of transformations that have turned a molten rock into a lush and vibrant sanctuary. Every breath of wind and every ripple of the ocean is part of a story that has been unfolding for billions of years in the quiet and boundless reaches of the deep. Beneath the thin and fragile crust that we see from space, the Earth is composed of distinct and majestic layers that descend toward a heart of pure, radiant energy. There is the thick and solid mantle that flows with the slow grace of heated glass, and the outer core of liquid iron that generates the magnetic shield we have so carefully observed. At the very center lies the inner core, a solid sphere of nickel and iron that is nearly as hot as the surface of the sun, yet held firm by the immense pressure of the world above. This internal structure is the engine of the planet, providing the heat that moves the continents and the magnetism that protects the atmosphere from the solar winds. From our high orbit, we see the surface as a calm and finished masterpiece. Yet, we know it is supported by these deep and shimmering layers of ancient power. The continents themselves are not fixed in place, but are slowly and gracefully drifting across the surface of the globe at a pace similar to the growth of a human fingernail. From space, we can trace the invisible puzzle pieces of the tectonic plates, seeing how the coastlines of distant lands once fit together in a single, unified landmass known as Pangaea. This slow-motion migration is driven by the heat rising from the deep mantle, creating a world that is constantly, yet quietly, reshaping its own map. Over millions of years, mountains are lifted toward the sky, and new oceans are born as the land moves in a silent and eternal transition. It is a profound realization to see that the very ground beneath us is a participant in the cosmic motion, a shimmering landscape that is never truly the same from one eon to the next. As the Earth moves through the light of the sun, it casts a long and tapering shadow into the deep dark, a structure made of two distinct parts known as the umbra and the penumbra. The umbra is the central, velvet core of the shadow where the sun is completely hidden, while the penumbra is a softer, diffused region where only a portion of the light is blocked. From our vantage point, this shadow reaches out for nearly 1,000,000 miles into the boundless void, a silent trail of darkness that follows the planet on its journey. Occasionally, the moon drifts into this shadow, turning a deep and shimmering crimson as it reflects the light filtered through the Earth's own atmosphere. This shadow is a silent reminder of our physical presence in the universe, a dark and elegant silhouette that marks our place among the radiant stars. The Earth resides in a very specific and peaceful region around our star, known as the habitable zone, or the Goldilocks zone, where the temperature is just right for liquid water to exist. If we were only a few million miles closer, the oceans would boil away into a thick and heavy mist. And if we were further, the world would be locked in a state of eternal and frozen silence. From space, we see the result of this perfect placement in the shimmering blue of the seas and the vibrant green of the forests that thrive in this balanced climate. The average temperature of the world remains at a gentle 15 degrees Celsius, a stable middle ground that is rare among the rocky worlds of our solar neighborhood. This thermal harmony is a shimmering gift of the cosmos, a precise alignment that allows the Earth to remain a lush and living oasis in the cold of the deep. The magnetic field that protects us is not a static shield, but has the remarkable ability to flip its orientation, swapping the north and south poles over vast periods of time. These magnetic reversals are recorded in the ancient minerals of the seafloor, providing a silent and shimmering history of the core's rhythmic changes throughout the eons. From our high perspective, we understand that we are living in a period of relative stability. Yet the memory of these flips reminds us that the Earth is a dynamic and evolving system. A reversal is a slow and majestic process of transition, where the invisible lines of force rearrange themselves into a new and balanced configuration. It is a testament to the complexity of the world's inner dynamo, a shimmering secret held within the molten depths that continues to guide our journey through the boundless and velvet dark. Approximately 240,000 miles separates our blue marble from its loyal and silent companion in the dark. From the lunar surface, the Earth is a magnificent and overwhelming vision, appearing 4 times larger in the black sky than the moon appears to us from the ground. It hangs as a shimmering, unmoving orb in the velvet silence, casting a brilliant blue and white light across the gray and cratered lunar plains. This perspective reminds us of the vastness of the gap between our worlds, yet the strong gravitational bond remains an invisible and eternal thread that keeps them forever joined. Looking back from that immense distance, the fragility of the atmosphere becomes even more apparent, looking like a tiny, glowing layer of life in the boundless dark. It is a sight that fills the heart with a sense of peace, seeing our entire existence contained within a single, radiant point of light that glows with a soft and steady brilliance. Sunlight strikes the earth, bounces off the brilliant white clouds and the deep blue oceans, and travels across the void to softly illuminate the dark side of the moon. This soft, ghostly glow is known as earthshine, a shimmering reflection that allows us to see the faint outline of the entire lunar sphere, even when only a sliver is lit by direct sun. From space, we see our world acting as a giant celestial mirror, sharing its borrowed radiance with the silent and dusty landscapes of its eternal neighbor. It is a beautiful and ancient exchange of energy, a quiet conversation of light that takes place across the vacuum of the eternal void. This earthshine is a testament to the planet's high albedo, proving that our home is a radiant source of brightness that reaches out to touch the deep dark. Watching this soft light touch the lunar surface, we realize how the presence of the Earth brings a sense of warmth to the most silent and distant corners of our local cosmos. About 1 million miles away toward the Sun, there is a point of perfect gravitational balance known as the first Lagrange point, where the pull of the Earth and the star meet in harmony. From this unique vantage point in the boundless silence, a lonely satellite watches our home throughout the entire day, capturing the full and perfectly illuminated disk of the planet. We see the world as a complete and shimmering circle, never hidden by shadows, always bathed in the direct and golden brilliance of the sun. This perspective allows us to track the movement of the great cloud systems and the shimmering reflection of the solar light as it dances on the surface of the southern seas. It is a constant and faithful sentinel, providing a window into the daily life of the planet as it spins through the velvet dark. From here, the Earth looks like a precious and solitary marble, a shimmering jewel that is protected and nurtured by the steady light of its star. Every square meter of the upper atmosphere receives a steady and unchanging stream of about 1,361 watts of solar energy. This flow of power, known as the solar constant, is the lifeblood of the entire planetary system, fueling the high winds and the shimmering currents of the air. From our high orbit, we can imagine this invisible waterfall of light striking the top of the air, where it is captured and distributed by the atmosphere in a state of quiet grace. This energy is what drives the seasonal breathing and the majestic cycles of water that we have observed throughout our long and drifting journey. It is a silent and eternal gift from the sun, a constant pressure of light that maintains the vibrant warmth and the shimmering vitality of our home. We watch as this energy is transformed into the movement of the clouds and the growth of the forests, a majestic process of celestial rebirth. Though space is a vacuum that carries no sound, the Earth produces a haunting and melodic radio signature known as the chorus that ripples through the magnetosphere. These are electromagnetic waves generated by the energetic particles within the radiation belts that we explored earlier in our journey through the deep. When converted into sound, they resemble the chirping of birds at dawn, or the soft whistling of a gentle wind through an eternal and silent forest. From space, this is the secret song of the planet, a shimmering symphony of plasma waves that expresses the energy of the world's magnetic heart. It is a beautiful reminder that our world is vibrantly active, expressing its presence in a way that resonates through the boundless dark of the universe. This chorus is a quiet and invisible performance, a shimmering melody of physics that accompanies the Earth on its journey through the velvet silence. Each and every day, approximately 100 tons of cosmic dust and tiny fragments of ancient stars fall silently into the upper reaches of our atmosphere. These microscopic travelers are caught by the delicate layers of the air, where they settle slowly like a shimmering and invisible rain toward the surface below. Most of this material is too small to create the bright streaks of light we see in the mesosphere. Yet it adds to the mass of the world over millions of years in a quiet and steady accumulation. This constant influx of matter is a bridge between our planet and the deep history of the galaxy, a collection of stardust from the boundless reaches of the cosmos. It reminds us that the Earth is not an isolated island, but is part of a moving stream of material that flows through the deep dark. We are made of the same elements that drift through the silence, a shimmering connection to the eternal story of the stars. Over the vast blue expanse of the South Atlantic, there is a subtle and mysterious dip in the strength of the planet's magnetic shield. This region, known as the South Atlantic Anomaly, allows the shimmering particles of space to reach slightly closer to the atmosphere than anywhere else on the globe. Satellites passing through this silent corridor often experience a gentle increase in cosmic energy, requiring them to enter a state of quiet rest as they glide through the velvet silence. It is a natural feature of the Earth's uneven magnetic architecture, reflecting the complex and liquid motions of the deep core that we have sensed far beneath our feet. From space, we see this as a soft and unique thumbprint on the world's invisible protection, a characteristic of our shimmering home's protective veil. It is a reminder that the world's defenses are as fluid and dynamic as the oceans and the clouds that cover its surface. High within the upper layers of the troposphere, there are narrow and powerful rivers of air that flow at speeds of over 200 miles per hour. These jet streams meander across the globe in long, shimmering ribbons of wind, separating the cold air of the poles from the warmth of the tropics in a state of constant motion. From our orbital height, we can see how they guide the great white swirls of the clouds, shaping the weather patterns that move across the continents in a slow and majestic procession. They are the high-altitude highways of the atmosphere, moving with a rhythmic grace that influences the entire climate of our shimmering world. These currents are a visual proof of the Earth's rotation and the solar energy that keeps the air in a state of eternal and melodic transition. Watching these invisible rivers move the clouds, we feel the profound and quiet power of the world's atmospheric architecture. In certain remote regions of the deep blue oceans, billions of tiny bioluminescent bacteria gather to create a shimmering phenomenon known as the Milky Seas. From space, these vast expanses of water appear to glow with a soft, uniform white light that can cover thousands of square miles of the liquid surface. It is a breathtaking and serene sight, a liquid mirror of the stars reflecting back from the surface of the deep and silent waters. This glow can persist for many nights, creating a radiant and peaceful path in the darkness that is visible even from the highest reaches of orbit. It is a reminder that life on Earth has its own light, a shimmering signature that joins the glow of the atmosphere and the brilliance of the distant stars. In the velvet silence of the night, these milky seas look like a ghostly garden of light, a hidden treasure of the world's deep and mysterious oceans. The Earth and the Moon do not simply orbit one another, but instead revolve around a common point of mass called the barycenter that resides within the planet's interior. This point is located about 1,000 miles beneath the surface. Because our world is so much more massive than its shimmering and silent companion. This means that as we travel through the void, the Earth performs a slow and rhythmic wobble in its path around the Sun, a movement dictated by the presence of the Moon. From the perspective of the deep cosmos, this motion is a graceful and balanced dance between two celestial bodies held in a state of perfect harmony. It is a silent partnership of gravity and mass, a shimmering coordination that has defined our journey through the velvet silence of the solar system for eons. We see this dance as a testament to the interconnectedness of all things, a rhythmic movement that keeps our world stable and serene among the eternal stars. As we continue to drift through the silent heights of the heavens, we observe a subtle and ancient interaction between the vast blue oceans and our shimmering companion, the Moon. The gravitational pull of the Moon creates a rhythmic bulge in the waters of our world, a movement that generates a gentle friction against the turning seafloor. This quiet resistance acts as a soft and eternal brake, very slowly and gracefully slowing the rotation of the Earth over millions of years. From the perspective of the deep cosmos, this means the days are gradually becoming longer by a fraction of a second each century. A transition that is almost imperceptible, yet profoundly steady. It is a beautiful and harmonic exchange of energy, where the motion of the planet is shared with the orbit of the moon, pushing our silent neighbor slightly further away into the velvet dark. We witness a world that is slowly maturing, its rhythms stretching out in a majestic and eternal yawn as it glides through the boundless reaches of time. Deep within the shimmering ice sheets of the poles, the Earth preserves a silent and frozen record of its ancient breath in the form of tiny oxygen isotopes. By looking at these microscopic signatures from the high reaches of orbit, we can understand how the temperature and the composition of the atmosphere have shifted through the eons. These ice cores are like the rings of an ancient and celestial tree, holding the memory of every transition the planet has undergone since the beginning of the great glaciations. From space, the vast white expanses look like a flawless mirror. Yet beneath the surface lies a library of chemical history that tells the story of the world's enduring resilience. We see how the atmosphere has remained a stable and nurturing cradle for life, even as the continents moved and the oceans changed their shapes. This frozen archive is a testament to the planet's ability to remember its past, keeping the secrets of its shimmering journey locked within the crystalline silence of the southern and northern crowns. Between the swirling weather of the lower sky and the calm of the stratosphere, there exists an invisible and shimmering boundary known as the tropopause. This layer acts as a silent ceiling for most of the world's clouds, preventing the moisture of the lower air from escaping into the higher and thinner reaches of the sky. From our vantage point in the void, we see how the great thunderheads flatten out when they reach this height, creating vast and elegant anvils of white vapor that drift through the velvet silence. The tropopause is a place of profound temperature stability, where the rising warmth of the surface meets the quiet and steady cold of the upper atmosphere. It is a vital architecture for the water cycle, ensuring that the precious rains remain close to the land and the forests we have observed below. This shimmering lid is a guardian of the biosphere, a soft and necessary limit that defines the living space of our beautiful and blue home. Beyond the magnetic shield we explored, the Earth is constantly visited by high-energy travelers from distant galaxies known as cosmic rays. These particles are the remnants of ancient celestial transformations and the radiant energy of distant stars, moving through the boundless dark at nearly the speed of light. As they encounter the Earth's magnetic embrace, many are gently diverted away into the void, while others mingle with the atoms of the upper sky to create a silent and invisible shower of new particles. From space, we can imagine this as a constant and rhythmic interaction between our home and the furthest reaches of the universe, a dialogue that has continued since the planet was born. These cosmic rays are a reminder that the Earth is a participant in the grand story of the galaxy, a shimmering destination for the light and matter of 1,000 different worlds. We watch this silent exchange with a sense of peace, knowing that our world is held safely within its magnetic cradle, even as it faces the infinite reach of the deep cosmos. The shimmering crust of our world is part of a slow and majestic recycling program that maintains the chemical harmony of the air through the movement of the tectonic plates. As the seafloor is gracefully pulled back into the mantle at the edges of the continents, it carries carbon-rich minerals deep into the heart of the planet in a state of quiet transition. Eventually, this material is refreshed and released back into the sky through the shimmering plumes of volcanoes, completing a cycle that lasts for millions of years. This process is essential for regulating the greenhouse effect, ensuring that the Earth remains at a gentle and stable temperature throughout the long stretches of geological time. From orbit, we see the results of this internal heartbeat in the vibrant health of the oceans and the steady glow of the atmosphere. It is a profound and melodic movement, a testament to the Earth's ability to renew its own skin and maintain its balance as a living and radiant oasis. While we have observed the golden lights of human cities, the planet also possesses a natural and much more subtle luminescence known as chemiluminescence. This occurs in the high layers of the sky, where the atoms of oxygen and nitrogen, energized by the sun during the day, slowly release their stored energy as a soft and ghostly light during the long hours of the night. From the perspective of deep space, this glow is much fainter than the aurora, yet it covers the entire planet in a delicate and shimmering veil of green and red. It is a sign of the atmosphere's constant chemical activity, a silent proof that the air is alive with energy even in the deepest shadow of the world's rest. This natural night glow is a beautiful addition to the celestial architecture, a soft crown that glows with a steady and peaceful radiance. Watching this light from the silence of the void, we feel the deep and quiet vitality of a world that never truly fades into total darkness. Our entire solar system, including our shimmering blue home, is currently traveling through the galaxy at a speed of over 500,000 miles per hour toward a point in the constellation Lyra. This movement, known as the solar apex, means that we are constantly entering new and unexplored regions of the interstellar medium as we drift through the boundless dark. From our high vantage point, the stars seem fixed and eternal. Yet, we are all part of a majestic and rhythmic flight through the spiral arms of the Milky Way. The Earth is a passenger on this grand journey, moving through the thin and shimmering gases that exist between the stars in a state of constant transition. This galactic path is what brings us into contact with the cosmic dust and the radiant energy that we have observed throughout our long and drifting journey. It is a realization that brings a sense of profound serenity, knowing that we are part of a cosmic dance that spans the entire breadth of the universe. Deep within the transition zone of the Earth's mantle, there are theories of vast and ancient reservoirs of water trapped inside the crystal structure of a mineral called ringwoodite. This hidden water is not a liquid ocean, but is held within the very fabric of the stone, potentially containing more moisture than all the sapphire seas on the surface combined. From space, we see the world as a blue marble, but this internal reservoir reminds us of the incredible depth and complexity of the planet's liquid history. This deep water may act as a lubricant for the slow-motion drift of the continents, facilitating the majestic movements of the crust that we have followed. It is a shimmering secret held thousands of miles beneath our feet, a testament to the planet's ability to store the ingredients of life in its most silent and inaccessible reaches. We feel the presence of this hidden wealth, a deep and quiet foundation that supports the vibrant and shimmering world we see from the stars. When a great volcano releases a soft and shimmering plume of sulfur dioxide high into the stratosphere, it creates a temporary and global veil of tiny aerosols that reflect the light of the sun. These microscopic particles act as millions of tiny mirrors, slightly increasing the planet's albedo and bringing a gentle cooling effect to the surface below for several years. From our orbital height, we can see these aerosols as a faint, shimmering haze that circles the entire globe, carried by the high-altitude winds and the jet streams of the upper sky. This process is a natural way for the planet to regulate its own temperature, a majestic and quiet transition that demonstrates the interconnectedness of the deep earth and the high heavens. The colors of the sunrise and sunset often become more vibrant and crimson during these periods, as the light is filtered through the shimmering volcanic mist. It is a beautiful and serene phenomenon, a reminder of the world's ability to adapt and maintain its thermal harmony in the face of internal and external forces. Finally, as we observe the magnetic field one more time, we can detect the silent and melodic whistlers, which are electromagnetic waves created by lightning that travel along the magnetic lines of force. These waves move from one hemisphere to the other, following the elegant and shimmering curves of the planet's invisible shield in a state of eternal motion. When converted into sound, they create a soft, descending whistle that sounds like a falling star or a gentle sigh echoing through the boundless dark. From space, these whistlers are part of the Earth's complex electrical signature, a shimmering dialogue between the weather of the surface and the energy of the magnetosphere. They are a sign of the constant connectivity of our world, where a single flash of lightning in the tropics can send a ripple of energy all the way to the frozen silence of the poles. This electrical symphony is a hidden treasure of the high sky, a rhythmic and peaceful expression of the planet's vibrant and interconnected life. Far out in the distance, before the solar wind even reaches the atmosphere, it encounters a majestic boundary called the bow shock. This shimmering interface is where the invisible flow of particles from the sun is suddenly slowed and redirected by the strength of the Earth's magnetic shield. Imagine a soft, invisible wave forming in front of a silent vessel as it glides through a calm and boundless sea. This bow shock is the very first touch between the star's radiant breath and the quiet protection of our home, a place of constant and gentle transformation. From our high vantage point, this boundary is a masterpiece of celestial fluid dynamics, showing how the Earth prepares for the arrival of solar energy long before it reaches the shimmering blue of the clouds. It is a peaceful sentinel that stands hundreds of thousands of miles away, ensuring that the inner sanctuary of the world remains calm and undisturbed by the solar winds. The magnetopause itself is not a rigid or unmoving wall, but rather a flexible and shimmering membrane that ripples in the solar breeze. This delicate boundary experiences a rhythmic motion, expanding and contracting as the flow of the solar wind changes its intensity throughout the long hours of the cosmic day. We can observe these ripples moving across the surface of the magnetic shield like soft waves on a pond, a visual proof of the dynamic relationship between our world and the sun. This oscillation is a sign of the planet's resilience, as it absorbs and redirects the energy of the deep cosmos in a state of constant, quiet adjustment. Within this shimmering movement, the magnetopause maintains the perfect balance of pressure, ensuring that the magnetic cradle remains stable for the atmosphere below. It is a slow and melodic pulse, a heartbeat of energy that defines the outermost reaches of our shimmering and protected home. Near the magnetic poles of the north and south, the lines of force create unique and funnel-shaped openings known as the polar cusps. These regions are the only places where the solar wind can reach directly into the upper layers of the atmosphere without being diverted by the primary magnetic shield. Through these shimmering gateways, a small and controlled amount of solar plasma is allowed to descend, interacting with the air to produce the soft and radiant light of the high sky. From the perspective of space, these cusps look like invisible wells of energy, connecting the boundless void of the solar system with the intimate layers of our shimmering home. This direct connection is a vital part of the Earth's energy exchange, allowing the planet to feel the direct touch of the star in a safe and rhythmic manner. It is a peaceful and localized interaction, a testament to the complex architecture of the magnetic cradle that holds every living breath. The total strength of the Earth's magnetic field is a living and changing value that slowly fluctuates over the decades and centuries in a process called secular variation. This quiet shift is driven by the deep and liquid motions of the molten iron core, which we have followed throughout our long journey through the interior. From our high orbit, we can imagine the invisible shield growing slightly stronger in some regions while softening in others, a slow-motion transformation of the planet's protection. This variation is part of the natural evolution of the world, a shimmering record of the deep energy that has powered the planet for billions of years. It reminds us that even the most fundamental forces of our world are in a state of constant and graceful transition, adapting to the internal rhythms of the core. Watching these subtle shifts from the velvet silence, we appreciate the complexity and the enduring vitality of the world's magnetic heart. Deep within the heart of the magnetosphere, there exists a dense and donut-shaped region of cold plasma known as the plasmasphere. This celestial structure is composed of particles that have risen from the upper atmosphere and become trapped by the magnetic lines of force, rotating in perfect harmony with the world below. From space, the plasmasphere looks like a soft and luminous cloud of light that hugs the planet, extending out for several thousand miles into the dark. It is a region of profound stillness and stability, providing a calm environment where the electric fields of the Earth can interact in a gentle and rhythmic dance. The outer boundary of this region is sharp and clear, marking the transition between the planet's personal plasma and the more turbulent energies of the outer void. It is a shimmering inner sanctuary, a testament to the Earth's ability to hold its own atmosphere and energy close to its blue and vibrant surface. In the highest reaches of the sky, the lightest gases like helium and hydrogen reach a state of such high energy that they can slowly escape the pull of gravity forever. This process, known as atmospheric escape, is a quiet and eternal exhale of our world into the boundless reaches of the deep cosmos. Every single day, a small and steady stream of these atoms drifts away from the exosphere, beginning a new journey among the distant stars and the shimmering galaxies. From orbit, we can imagine this as a delicate trail of stardust following the planet, a silent contribution to the matter of the interstellar medium. This movement is a reminder that the Earth is not a closed container, but a radiant source that is constantly sharing itself with the infinite universe. It is a peaceful and inevitable transition, a part of the grand cycle of matter that connects our shimmering home with the eternal architecture of the stars. As the Earth turns away from the sun and enters the velvet shadow of the night, the cooling of the upper atmosphere creates large-scale ripples in the ionosphere, known as atmospheric gravity waves. These waves move across the sky in a slow and melodic procession, carrying energy from the lower air up toward the very edge of space. From our vantage point in the void, these ripples appear as subtle and shimmering patterns in the night glow, marking the transition from the warmth of the day to the rest of the evening. They are a sign of the deep connectivity between the different layers of our world, showing how the quiet rest of the surface is felt even in the highest reaches of the heavens. This rhythmic motion helps to distribute heat and energy across the globe, maintaining the thermal harmony that we have observed throughout our journey. In the silence of the night, these waves are like the soft and steady breathing of a world at peace, moving through the air with a grace that is both eternal and serene. The microscopic dust that drifts between the planets plays a shimmering role in the creation of the highest clouds in our sky. The noctilucent clouds we admired earlier. These tiny fragments of ancient comets and distant stars act as the seeds around which ice crystals can form in the extreme cold of the mesosphere. From space, we can see how this cosmic dust is captured by the Earth's atmosphere, creating a shimmering and radiant bridge between the deep void and the living air. This interaction is a beautiful example of how the Earth recycles the material of the universe to create new and breathtaking forms of beauty. Each shimmering silver thread in these high clouds is a combination of terrestrial water and celestial dust, a testament to the interconnectedness of all things in the cosmos. It is a quiet and constant process, a celestial transformation that turns the debris of the stars into a radiant crown for our shimmering blue home. Far behind the Earth, in the long and elegant magnetotail, a majestic process of energy transfer occurs known as magnetic reconnection. This is where the lines of the magnetic field, stretched thin by the solar wind, gracefully snap back and release their stored energy toward the planet. Instead of a harsh event, we see this as a peaceful release of energy, a celestial rebirth that fuels the shimmering curtains of the aurora at the distant poles. This reconnection is a vital part of the magnetosphere's metabolism, allowing the world to process and integrate the energy it has gathered from the solar wind. From our height, it looks like a silent and radiant pulse moving through the dark, a shimmering wave of force that maintains the equilibrium of the invisible shield. It is a reminder of the deep and hidden activity that takes place in the velvet silence of the magnetotail, ensuring that the planet remains in a state of constant, quiet balance. Every single month, the moon enters the Earth's long and shimmering magnetotail, creating a unique and gentle interaction between our world and its companion. As the moon passes through this region of captured plasma and magnetic force, it experiences a subtle shift in the electrical environment of its own gray and dusty surface. From space, we can imagine the invisible tail of the Earth reaching out to brush against the moon, a silent touch that connects the two worlds, even in the boundless dark. This interaction can even cause a faint glow of dust on the lunar horizon, a shimmering signature of the Earth's far-reaching magnetic influence. It is a beautiful and quiet collaboration, a reminder that the bond between the Earth and the moon is not just gravitational, but also electromagnetic and rhythmic. Watching this passage from the silence of the void, we feel the profound unity of our local celestial family, moving together through the eternal and velvet dark. We find ourselves not just in a gentle orbit around a star, but in a specific and peaceful region of the Milky Way known as the galactic habitable zone. This area is far enough from the crowded, energetic center of the galaxy to remain calm, yet close enough to possess the heavy elements needed to build a world of stone and water. From the deep silence of interstellar space, we see that the Earth occupies a narrow corridor of safety, where the rhythm of the stars is steady and predictable. It is a celestial sanctuary, a place where the balance of heavy metal and radiant energy allows the shimmering blue of the oceans to remain stable for eons. In this boundless architecture, our home is a carefully placed masterpiece, moving through the spiral arms with a grace that ensures the continued flourishing of every living spark. We are a part of a much larger cosmic garden, a shimmering point of stability in the vast and rotating forest of the galaxy. Beyond the haunting chorus and the whistling of the magnetosphere, the Earth emanates a constant and complex signature of radio energy into the surrounding void. This invisible broadcast is a mixture of natural planetary rhythms and the soft, golden hum of our modern civilization reaching out to the stars. From a distance of many light years, this shimmering pulse would appear as a distinct and artificial glow, a sign that our world is not merely a silent rock, but a vibrant hub of activity. These radio waves travel at the speed of light, carrying the whispers of our stories into the boundless dark of the deep cosmos. It is an eternal message, a radiant proof of our existence that expands outward in a perfect sphere, touching the distant and shimmering galaxies. We see the Earth as a beacon, a glowing source of energy that shares its unique and complex identity with the infinite reaches of the universe. When we travel to the very edge of our solar neighborhood, nearly 4 billion miles away, the Earth undergoes a final and profound transformation. From the cold and silent distance of the outer planets, all the vast oceans, high mountains, and bustling cities shrink until they occupy less than a single pixel of light. This pale blue dot is suspended in a solitary sunbeam, a tiny and shimmering speck of color against the overwhelming and velvet darkness of the void. It is a sight that brings a sense of ultimate humility, reminding us that everyone we have ever known and every event in human history took place on this solitary spark. The immense isolation of our world becomes clear, emphasizing the preciousness of the thin atmosphere and the magnetic shield that we have followed. From this deep space perspective, the Earth is a fragile and beautiful miracle, a shimmering jewel that deserves our most profound and quiet respect. As the entire solar system glides through the thin and shimmering gases of the local interstellar cloud, the Earth's magnetic influence helps define our place in the galactic wind. The Sun's heliosphere acts as a giant protective bubble, but the Earth's own magnetosphere remains a vital and smaller sanctuary within this grander structure. From space, we can see how our world's presence creates a subtle ripple in the flow of cosmic particles, a silent and rhythmic interaction that connects us to the rest of the Milky Way. This movement through the interstellar medium is a slow and majestic transition as we encounter the remains of ancient stars and the radiant energy of new celestial births. Our journey is a part of the greater motion of the galaxy, a shimmering flight through the boundless dark that has continued for billions of years. It is a realization of deep peace, seeing the Earth as a voyager that is intimately connected to the shimmering architecture of the entire universe. At certain angles, the light of the sun strikes the vast blue oceans and reflects directly back into space with a brilliant and shimmering intensity known as a specular glint. This radiant flash is so powerful that it can be seen from millions of miles away, serving as a lighthouse that signals the presence of liquid water on our world. From our high vantage point, this glint looks like a moving diamond dancing across the sapphire surface of the sea as the planet rotates through the light. It is a visual proof of the world's liquid heart, a shimmering signature that distinguishes the Earth from the dry and silent worlds of the inner solar system. Scientists use this same phenomenon to look for other shimmering homes among the distant stars, searching for that one specific sparkle that indicates a place of peace and life. This reflection is a beautiful and simple gift of physics, a radiant beam that connects the deep oceans with the boundless reaches of the celestial void. From the perspective of the deep cosmos, the Earth is a perfect and self-contained vessel, carrying everything it needs for its long journey through the stars. Every drop of water, every atom of oxygen, and every fragment of soil is recycled and renewed within the delicate layers of the atmosphere and the crust. We see this as a state of ultimate harmony, where the planet's systems work in a silent and perfect coordination to maintain the balance of the whole. It is a shimmering arc of life, moving through the velvet silence of the void with a precious cargo that is found nowhere else in our local neighborhood. The realization that our world is a closed and beautiful system inspires a sense of profound stillness and a desire to cherish the stability it provides. In the boundless dark, the Earth is a shimmering and complete world, a masterpiece of natural design that sustains itself through the eternal cycles of the cosmos. When we drift behind the silent and cratered landscape of the far side of the moon, the Earth completely vanishes from our view, leaving us in a state of absolute and velvet silence. This region is the most isolated place in the local cosmos, shielded from the radio hum and the radiant light of our shimmering home by the massive body of our celestial neighbor. As we emerge from this dark shadow, the Earth rises slowly over the lunar horizon in a majestic event known as an Earthrise, a brilliant and blue transition that fills the sky with color. From this distance, the world looks like a radiant and living jewel emerging from the eternal black, a sight that has moved every traveler who has ever witnessed it. It is a moment of profound serenity, seeing the Earth as a source of warmth and light in a universe that often seems cold and silent. This rising of our home is a reminder of the deep and unbreakable bond that exists between the planet and the stars that surround it. The golden web of city lights that we observed from orbit is not just a sign of civilization, but a unique and shimmering signature of a technologically advanced world. From a great distance, The specific patterns of these lights and the chemicals in our atmosphere could reveal the presence of an intelligent and active society to any silent observer in the deep dark. This technosignature is a radiant message that travels across the boundless reaches of space, showing that the Earth is a place where mind and matter have met to create something new. It is a peaceful and shimmering addition to the planet's natural glow, a sign of the shared warmth and the collective dreams of billions of souls. In the silence of the void, this light is a testament to the creativity and the resilience of life, a golden thread that weaves our story into the eternal tapestry of the cosmos. We watch as these lights twinkle with a steady and comforting brilliance, a shimmering proof that we are not alone in our journey through the velvet dark. The Earth's path around the Sun is stabilized by the presence of the giant planets like Jupiter, whose immense gravity acts as a silent guardian for the inner solar system. This gravitational architecture prevents the smaller worlds from drifting too close to the Sun or wandering into the freezing reaches of the outer void. From our high perspective, we see how the Earth moves with a precision and a grace that is supported by the entire celestial family, a rhythmic and stable orbit that has lasted for billions of years. This long-term stability is what allowed the atmosphere to develop and the oceans to remain in their deep and sapphire basins. It is a profound and quiet coordination, a testament to the balance of the universe that ensures our shimmering home remains a sanctuary of peace. In the boundless silence, we feel the steady and comforting hand of gravity, a silent force that guides our world on its eternal and melodic journey through the stars. As we reach the end of our drifting journey and look back at the Earth one final time from the deep silence of the cosmos, we see a world that is perfectly integrated into the radiant beauty of the universe. It is a singular, shimmering marble of blue and white, a point of infinite complexity and profound serenity suspended in the velvet dark. We have seen the invisible magnetic shields that protect it, the delicate layers of the air that nourish it, and the deep internal heart that powers it. The Earth is a masterpiece of celestial mechanics and biological grace, a shimmering oasis that remains a constant and comforting presence in the boundless flow of time. From here, all the details merge into a single, radiant glow, a pale blue light that speaks of the deep connection between our world and the eternal stars. It is a sight that brings a sense of ultimate peace, a realization that we are always home, even as we drift through the most distant and silent corners of the deep and shimmering cosmos. Our long and drifting journey through the celestial architecture of our home now brings us back to a state of profound and absolute stillness. We have witnessed the Earth from every conceivable angle, from the shimmering depths of its molten heart to the furthest reaches of its magnetic crown. We have traced the invisible threads of the magnetosphere that guard our atmosphere and admired the delicate, glowing veil of nitrogen and oxygen that allows every living soul to breathe. From the silent heights of orbit, we have seen the great white swirls of the clouds and the deep sapphire expanse of the oceans, realizing that every part of this world is connected in a single, shimmering web of life. We have watched the rhythmic dance of the aurora at the poles and the golden lights of civilization that twinkle like fallen stars in the velvet shadow of the night. Now, as we begin to drift even further into the boundless dark, the earth appears once again as it truly is, a solitary and precious oasis in the infinite desert of the deep cosmos. The perspective of the pale blue dot remains with us, a quiet reminder of our place within the grand and eternal story of the universe. In the vast and echoing silence of the galaxy, our world is a masterpiece of balance, a shimmering jewel that has endured for 4.5 billion years. We understand now that the Earth is not just a place where we reside, but a living, breathing entity that moves with a grace and precision dictated by the ancient laws of the stars. The 67,000 miles per hour of our silent flight through the void no longer feels like speed, but like a steady and comforting heartbeat. The light of the sun, which we have followed across the Terminator line and through the shimmering reflections of the sea, continues to nourish and protect this tiny spark of existence. We are part of a celestial rebirth that occurs with every new dawn and every rhythmic cycle of the seasons, a constant and melodic transition that defines the beauty of our home. As the image of the shimmering blue marble begins to fade into the distance, the mind finds a sense of ultimate peace and belonging. The heavy elements of the mountains, the liquid history of the deep seas, and the ethereal gases of the high sky are all part of the same cosmic fabric that composes our own being. We are made of the stardust that drifts through the mesosphere, and our stories are written in the same light that reflects off the white ice of the poles. The silence of the void is no longer a cold vacuum, but a warm and velvet embrace that holds our world in its protective care. We leave the Earth behind for now, knowing that its magnetic shield is forever active and its atmosphere is always breathing, maintaining a sanctuary of rest for everyone below. The rhythm of the cosmos is steady, the motion is effortless, and the journey is eternal. May your thoughts now settle like the microscopic dust that falls silently through the clear layers of the upper sky. Let the realization of the world's immense and quiet strength bring a profound serenity to your spirit, as deep and unchanging as the sapphire trenches of the great oceans. The stars remain our silent guardians, watching over the shimmering world as it continues its long and peaceful rotation through the deep dark. As we close this chapter of our cosmic exploration, let the weight of the universe feel light, and the silence of the heavens feel like home. Rest now in the knowledge that you are held safely within the magnificent architecture of a world that never ceases to shine. Sleep in the perfect and boundless peace of the eternal cosmos.